Hey everyone. Get cozy, settle into a comfy position, and let these calming tales whisk you away to a peaceful night's sleep. Drop a comment below on what time and from where you are watching this video and share your own late-night ritual that helps you drift off. The fog clung to the streets of Eldridge like a jealous lover, wrapping the town in a damp, gray shroud that muffled sound and blurred the edges of reality. The bus stop at the corner of Maple and 3rd was a lonely outpost, its rusted sign creaking in the faint breeze. Clara Henshaw stood beneath it, her breath puffing in the cold, her gloved hands clutching a worn leather satchel. She was 42, with lines etched around her eyes from years of squinting at life's disappointments, but tonight her face held a flicker of something else, anticipation or maybe fear. The last midnight bus was due in 10 minutes. Nobody in Eldridge talked about it openly, but everyone knew the stories. It came once a month, always at 12:01 a.m., and it didn't run to any destination you could find on a map. People who boarded it didn't always come back, and those who did were changed. Clara had heard whispers at the diner. A man who returned with no memory of his name, a woman who spoke in a language no one could identify. Yet the bus kept coming, and every month, someone was foolish or desperate enough to climb aboard. Clara was desperate. Her daughter Lily had been gone for 6 months, vanished without a trace after a fight that left Clara's heart raw. The police had given up, the town had moved on, but Clara couldn't. Then last week she'd found the note tucked into Lily's old sketchbook. "If I'm lost, find me on the midnight bus." No explanation, just those words in Lily's looping scrawl. Clara had no idea what it meant, but it was all she had. The hum of an engine broke the silence, low and guttural, like a beast stirring in the fog. Headlights pierced the mist, twin orbs glowing faintly before the bus emerged. A hulking black-painted thing with windows tinted so dark they swallowed the light. The door hissed open, and the driver, a gaunt man with eyes like polished obsidian, stared at her without speaking. "You going?" he asked, his voice a dry rasp. Clara's throat tightened. She nodded, clutching her satchel tighter, and stepped onto the bus. The door closed behind her with a soft thunk, sealing her inside. The interior smelled of old leather and something faintly metallic like blood or rust. The seats were empty, save for a figure hunched near the back, their face hidden in shadow. Clara chose a seat near the front, her hands trembling as she set her satchel on her lap. The bus lurched forward, and the world outside the windows dissolved into a smear of gray. "Where's this bus headed?" she asked, her voice louder than she intended. The driver didn't turn. "Wherever you need to go," he said, and something in his tone made her skin prickle. She glanced at the figure in the back. They hadn't moved, but she felt their presence like a weight. The bus rattled along, the road beneath it feeling less like pavement and more like a current pulling them somewhere unnatural. Clara's mind raced. What if Lily wasn't here? What if this was a mistake? She unzipped her satchel and pulled out the sketchbook, flipping to the page with the note. The words stared back at her, unwavering. "If I'm lost, find me on the midnight bus." "Excuse me," a voice said, soft but sharp, cutting through her thoughts. It was the figure from the back, now standing in the aisle. A young man, maybe 25, with pale skin and hair so blonde it was almost white. His eyes were a startling green, too bright, like they'd been borrowed from something not quite human. "You're looking for someone?" he said, not a question. Clara's grip tightened on the sketchbook. "How do you know that?" He smiled, a thin, knowing curve of his lips. "Everyone on this bus is looking for something. Or running from it." She hesitated, then said, "My daughter, Lily. She's missing." His smile faded, and for a moment he looked almost sad. "The bus doesn't always give you what you want," he said. "But it always gives you what you need." Before she could ask what he meant, the bus slowed and the driver called out, "First stop." The door hissed open, revealing nothing but darkness beyond. The young man stood, gave Clara a lingering look, and stepped off into the void. The door closed and the bus moved on. The next hour passed in a haze. The bus stopped twice more, each time opening to a different kind of darkness. One thick and syrupy, another sharp and glittering like broken glass. No one else boarded, and Clara was alone again, her thoughts spiraling. She opened the sketchbook, tracing Lily's drawings. Fantastical landscapes, creatures with too many eyes, and a recurring image of a door in the middle of nowhere. Clara had always thought they were just Lily's imagination at work, but now they felt like clues. The bus lurched to a stop again, and this time the door opened to a faint glow. Clara stood, her legs unsteady, and peered out. A path stretched into the fog, lined with trees that seemed to shimmer, their branches curling like fingers. The driver turned, his obsidian eyes meeting hers. "You're stop," he said. Clara's heart pounded. "How do you know?" He didn't answer, just gestured to the door. She grabbed her satchel and stepped off, the ground beneath her feet soft and unnervingly warm. The bus pulled away, leaving her alone in the strange, glowing forest. The path led to a clearing where a single door stood, just like in Lily's drawings, wooden, weathered, with a brass knob that gleamed faintly. Clara's breath caught. She reached for the knob, her hand trembling, and pushed the door open. Beyond was a room, impossibly large, its walls lined with mirrors that reflected not her face but moments from her life. Lily's first steps, their fights, the day Lily left. In the center stood a girl, her back to Clara, sketching on a canvas. "Lily?" Clara whispered. The girl turned and Clara's heart shattered. It was Lily, her dark curls, her sharp cheekbones, but her eyes were wrong, too bright like the young man's on the bus. She smiled, but it didn't reach those eyes. "Mom," she said, her voice echoing faintly. "You found me." Clara rushed forward, arms outstretched, but Lily stepped back, her expression shifting to something wary. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "It's not safe." "Not safe." Clara's voice cracked. "Lily, I've been looking for you for months." "Where are we? What is this place?" Lily set down her sketchbook, its pages filled with the same eerie drawings Clara had seen. "It's hard to explain. The midnight bus doesn't just go places. It goes between places. Between what's real and what isn't. I came here because I wanted to understand, to see what was on the other side." "Understand what?" Clara's hands clenched into fists. "You left me. You left that note and then you were gone. Do you know what that did to me?" Lily's face softened, but her eyes stayed distant. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I was lost even before I left. I found a book in the library, old and hidden, about the bus. It said it could take you to the places you draw in your mind. I thought it could fix me." Clara's throat burned. "Fix you? You were perfect." Lily laughed, a hollow sound. "I wasn't. I was drowning, Mom. In my head, in this town. The bus was my way out." Clara stepped closer, desperate to bridge the gap. "Then let's go home. Together." Lily shook her head. "You don't understand. I'm not the same anymore. This place changes you. Look." She gestured to the mirrors, where Clara's reflection now showed her younger self, laughing with Lily in a park. "It shows you what you've lost, what you could have. But it takes something in return." Clara's eyes stung with tears. "What did it take from you?" Lily hesitated, then touched her chest. "Part of me. The part that felt human." The words hit Clara like a blow. She wanted to scream, to drag Lily. Lily back to the bus, but the weight of her words lingered in Clara's mind, heavy and cold. "What do you mean, human?" she asked, her voice trembling. Lily's gaze drifted to the mirrors, her expression unreadable. "This place, it's not just a destination. It's a kind of in-between, a place where the edges of yourself get blurry. You start to forget what it feels like to be whole." She turned back to Clara, her strange, luminous eyes softening. "I didn't know it would happen when I got on the bus. I just wanted to escape." Clara's chest tightened, a mix of anger and grief swirling inside her. "Escape what?" "Me. Your life." She stepped closer, her hands shaking. "You could have talked to me, Lily. We could have figured it out." Lily's lips parted, but no words came. She looked down at the sketchbook in her hands, her fingers tracing the edges of a drawing, a spiraling vortex of stars and shadows. "It wasn't you," she said finally. "It was me. I felt like I was suffocating, like I didn't belong anywhere. The book I found, it promised answers. A way to see what was beyond. I thought I could find myself." Clara's eyes burned, but she fought the tears. "And did you?" Lily's smile was faint, almost ghostly. "I found something. But it's not what I thought it would be." The room seemed to pulse, the mirrors flickering with images that shifted too fast to follow. Clara and Lily baking cookies, Lily's high school graduation, the night they fought, and she stormed out. Clara's knees buckled, but she caught herself against the doorframe. "Come back with me," she said, her voice breaking. "We'll fix this. Whatever it took from you, we'll get it back." Lily's eyes met hers, and for a moment, Clara saw a flicker of the girl she knew, the one who used to laugh so hard she'd snort. But it was gone as quickly as it came. "You can't stay here, Mom. It's not meant for you." "I'm not leaving without you," Clara said, her voice firm despite the tremor in her hands. Lily's expression hardened. "You don't have a choice. The bus decides." As if on cue, the air grew heavy, and a low hum vibrated through the room. Clara turned, her heart lurching as she saw the faint glow of headlights through the open door. The bus was back, waiting in the foggy clearing. The driver's silhouette was visible through the tinted windshield, his obsidian eyes fixed on her. "No," Clara said, grabbing Lily's arm. Her skin was cold, unnaturally so. "You're coming with me." Lily pulled away, gentle but firm. "I can't. The bus won't let me." "What does that mean?" Clara's voice rose, panic creeping in. "You're here. You're real. I'm taking you home." Lily shook her head, her eyes glistening with something like tears, though they didn't fall. "I'm not whole anymore. This place holds me together. If I leave, I don't know what'll happen." Clara's mind raced, grasping for something, anything to hold on to. "Then I'll stay. If you can't leave, I'll stay with you." The hum of the bus grew louder, insistent. Lily's face crumpled, and she threw her arms around Clara, the first real warmth Clara had felt from her. "You can't," she whispered. "You're still whole. This place will take that from you." Clara held her tightly, her tears soaking into Lily's hair. "I don't care. You're my daughter." The driver's voice cut through the moment, sharp and cold. "Time's up." Clara spun around, shielding Lily with her body. "She's not staying here," she snapped. "You can't keep her." The driver didn't move, his face a mask of indifference. "The bus doesn't keep anyone. They choose." Clara turned to Lily, her heart pounding. "You didn't choose this, did you?" Lily's silence was answer enough. She stepped back, her hands falling to her sides. "I did," she said softly. "I didn't know what it meant, but I chose it." The weight of those words crushed Clara. She wanted to scream, to tear the room apart, but the bus's engine growled, a warning. She grabbed Lily's hand, pulling her toward the door. "We're leaving. Now." Lily didn't resist, but her steps were slow, reluctant. As they reached the door, the fog outside thickened, swirling around the bus like a living thing. The driver stood at the entrance, his eyes glinting in the dim light. "You sure about this?" he asked, his gaze flicking to Lily. "Yes," Clara said, her voice steady despite the fear clawing at her chest. He shrugged, stepping aside. "Your choice." Clara pulled Lily onto the bus, her heart hammering as the door hissed shut behind them. The interior was the same, dark, cold, the air heavy with that metallic tang. She guided Lily to a seat, her hand never leaving her daughter's. The bus lurched forward, and the world outside dissolved into a blur of gray. Lily stared out the window, her face pale, her strange eyes reflecting the faint glow of the fog. "You shouldn't have done this," she whispered. Clara squeezed her hand. "You're my daughter. I'd do anything." The bus rumbled on, and Clara's stomach twisted with unease. The driver's words echoed in her mind. "The bus doesn't keep anyone. They choose." She looked at Lily, searching for the girl she knew, but those luminous eyes stared back, a reminder of how much had changed. The journey felt endless, the fog outside the windows unbroken, the silence inside the bus oppressive. Clara kept her arm around Lily, who sat rigid, her gaze fixed on the floor. The sketchbook lay in her lap, its pages fluttering slightly as the bus swayed. Clara wanted to ask 1,000 questions. What happened here? What did you see? Are you still you? But the weight of the moment kept her silent. She was afraid of the answers. Finally, the bus slowed, and the driver's voice rasped through the quiet. "Eldridge." Clara's heart leapt. Oh, they'd made it. She stood, pulling Lily to her feet. "Come on," she said, her voice thick with relief. "We're here." Lily's expression didn't change, but she followed Clara to the door. The fog was thinner here, the familiar outline of the Maple and Third bus stop faintly visible. Clara stepped off, her boots crunching on the gravel, and turned to help Lily down. But Lily hesitated, her hand gripping the doorframe. "Lily, come on," Clara urged, her voice sharp with fear. Lily's eyes met hers, and for the first time, Clara saw a spark of something familiar. Fear, maybe, or hope. "I don't know if I can," she said. "You can," Clara said, reaching for her. "You're home." Lily took a tentative step, then another, and finally stood on the ground beside Clara. The bus door hissed shut, and the engine roared as it pulled away, disappearing into the fog. Clara wrapped her arms around Lily, tears streaming down her face. "You're okay," she whispered. "You're okay." But Lily's body was stiff, her skin still cold. "Mom," she said, her voice barely audible. "I don't feel right." Clara pulled back, searching her daughter's face. Those eyes, too bright, too strange, stared back at her. "What do you mean?" she asked, dread pooling in her gut. Lily looked down at her hands, flexing her fingers as if testing them. "It's like, I'm not all here. Like something's missing." Clara's heart sank. She remembered the young man on the bus, his cryptic warning. The bus always gives you what you need. What had it taken from Lily to bring her back? She pushed the thought away, refusing to let it take root. "We'll figure it out," she said, her voice firm. "We'll get you help. Doctors, whatever you need." Lily's smile was faint, almost pitying. "You don't understand. It's not that kind of missing." Before Clara could respond, a faint glow appeared in the distance, cutting through the fog. Another bus? No, it was different, smaller, softer, like a lantern swaying in the mist. A figure emerged, the same young man from the bus, his pale hair gleaming under the streetlight. "You made it out," he said, his green eyes flicking between Clara and Lily. "Not everyone does." Clara stepped in front of Lily, her instincts flaring. "Who are you? What do you want?" He raised his hands, palms out. "I'm not here to hurt you. I just check on the ones who make it back. To see how much they brought with them." "What does that mean?" Clara snapped, her patience fraying. He looked at Lily, his expression unreadable. "You feel it, don't you? The piece that's gone." Lily nodded slowly, her hand tightening around the sketchbook. "It's like I left something behind." Clara's blood ran cold. "What did you leave?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Lily's eyes met hers, and the sorrow in them was unbearable. "I don't know. But I feel empty." The young man stepped closer, his voice soft but heavy. "The midnight bus doesn't just take you places. It takes a toll. Something you don't realize you're giving up until it's gone." Clara's knees buckled, but she caught herself. "No," she said, her voice rising. "We're home. It's over. You can't take anything else from her." The young man's gaze softened, but he shook his head. "It's not me. It's the bus. And it's already done." Clara turned to Lily, grabbing her shoulders. "You're here. You're alive. That's enough. We'll fix this." Lily's lips trembled, but she didn't pull away. "I want to believe you," she said. "But I don't know if I can." The young man watched them for a moment, then turned and walked back into the fog, his figure dissolving like a ghost. Clara pulled Lily close, her heart pounding against the truth she didn't want to face. The bus was gone, but its shadow lingered, and Clara knew this was only the beginning of a new kind of fight. The days that followed were a blur of hope and dread. Clara took Lily to the doctor, then a specialist, then a therapist, but none of them could explain the hollowness in Lily's eyes or the way she seemed to drift through the world, untethered. She ate, she slept, she spoke, but it was as if part of her was still on that bus, caught in the in-between. Clara threw herself into research, scouring the internet for anything about the midnight bus. She found nothing but vague legends, stories of ghost buses and phantom roads, all dismissed as folklore. The library where Lily had found the mysterious book was a dead end. The book was gone, the librarian claiming no record of it. But Clara couldn't let it go. She stayed up nights, poring over Lily's sketchbook, searching for answers in the strange, otherworldly drawings. Lily, meanwhile, seemed to fade a little more each day. She stopped drawing, stopped talking about the future. She'd sit for hours, staring out the window, her hands still, her face blank. Clara tried to fill the silence with chatter, plans for a vacation, memories of better times, but Lily's responses were short, her smiles rare. One night, Clara found her in the backyard, staring at the stars. The air was crisp, the sky clear for the first time in weeks. Lily's breath puffed in the cold, but her skin was still unnaturally pale, her eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight. "Lily," Clara said, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. "You'll catch a cold out here." Lily didn't look at her. "Do you think there's a place where we're whole?" she asked. "A place where nothing's missing?" Clara's throat tightened. She sat beside her, pulling the blanket around them both. "I think we make ourselves whole, piece by piece. And I'm going to help you." Lily leaned against her, a small gesture that felt like a lifeline. I don't know if I can, she whispered. But I'm glad you're here. Clara held her tighter, tears burning her eyes. I'm not going anywhere. The stars glittered above, indifferent to their pain, and Clara held Lily tighter, her heart a tangle of resolve and fear. The night was quiet, save for the distant hum of crickets, but Clara couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them, waiting in the shadows beyond the yard. She glanced at Lily's face, pale and ghostly in the moonlight, her luminous eyes fixed on the sky. "Mom," Lily said suddenly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you hear that?" Clara strained her ears, but all she caught was the rustle of leaves in the breeze. "Hear what, sweetheart?" Lily's brow furrowed, her fingers tightening around the blanket. "It's like a hum. Low like the bus." Clara's blood ran cold. She stood, pulling Lily with her, and scanned the darkness. The street beyond their fence was empty, the fog from earlier gone, but the air felt heavy, charged with something unnatural. "There's nothing there," she said, more to convince herself than Lily. "Let's go inside." Lily didn't move. "It's not gone," she said, her voice trembling. "The bus is still connected to me." Clara's heart pounded. She grabbed Lily's shoulders, turning her so they were face to face. "What do you mean, connected? You're here. You're home." Lily's eyes met hers, and the sorrow in them was a knife to Clara's chest. "It's like I can feel it in my head, like it's calling me back." Clara's grip tightened, her nails digging into the blanket. "No, you're not going back. I won't let it take you again." Lily's lips parted, but before she could speak, a faint glow appeared at the end of the street, cutting through the night like a blade. Clara's breath caught. It was the same soft, lantern-like light she'd seen when the young man appeared at the bus stop. She pulled Lily behind her, her body tensing as the glow grew closer, revealing not the bus but a figure. A woman this time older, with silver hair braided tightly against her scalp. Her eyes were the same unnerving green as the young man's, and she carried a small leather-bound book in her hands. "You shouldn't be out here," the woman said, her voice calm but edged with warning. She stopped a few feet away, her gaze flicking to Lily. "It's not safe for her." Clara stepped forward, shielding Lily. "Who are you? What do you want with my daughter?" The woman's expression softened, but her eyes remained sharp. "My name's Eleanor. I've been watching the bus for a long time. Longer than you'd believe." She held up the book, its cover worn and etched with strange symbols. "I know what it does. What it takes." Clara's throat tightened. "Then tell me how to fix it. Something's wrong with her. She's not herself." Eleanor's gaze lingered on Lily, who stood frozen, her eyes wide and unblinking. "She's still tethered," Eleanor said. "The bus doesn't let go easily. When it takes you, it leaves a thread, a connection that binds you to the in-between. That's what she's feeling." Clara's stomach churned. "How do we break it?" Eleanor hesitated, her fingers tightening around the book. "It's not simple. The bus doesn't just take a piece of you, it trades it for something else. Something you don't always notice until it's too late." Lily spoke, her voice small. "What did it trade me for?" Eleanor's eyes softened, but she didn't answer directly. "You're still here," she said. "That's more than most get. But the longer you stay, the stronger the tether grows. If you don't break it, it'll pull you back." Clara's hands clenched into fists. "Then tell us how to break it. Now." Eleanor glanced at the sky as if checking the time. "The bus comes back in 29 days. 1 month from the night you wrote it. If you want to sever the tether, you have to board it again, both of you, and find what it took from her." Clara's heart sank. Board it again? After what it did to her? "It's the only way," Eleanor said. "The in-between isn't a place you can walk away from. Not completely. But you have to be careful. The bus doesn't like giving things back." Lily's voice cut through the tension, sharp and desperate. "What if I don't want to go back? What if I just live with it?" Eleanor's expression darkened. "You can try. But the tether will pull harder. You'll feel it every day like a hole inside you growing. Eventually, it'll take the rest of you." Clara's knees buckled, but she caught herself. "No," she said, her voice shaking with fury. "There has to be another way." Eleanor's eyes were heavy with something like pity. "There isn't. I've seen it too many times. The bus always gets what it wants." Lily stepped out from behind Clara, her face pale but resolute. "If I go back, will I be me again?" Eleanor didn't answer right away. She opened the book, flipping to a page filled with cramped, handwritten notes and strange diagrams. Maybe, she said finally. If you're strong enough. If you know what you're looking for. Clara grabbed Lily's hand, her voice fierce. We'll do it together. Whatever it takes. Eleanor nodded, but her eyes were distant. You'll need this, she said, holding out the book. It's not much, but it's what I've learned. The bus's rules, its patterns. It might help. Clara took the book, its weight heavier than it should have been. Why are you helping us? She asked. Eleanor's smile was thin, almost bitter. Because I rode the bus once. A long time ago. And I didn't have anyone to warn me. Before Clara could ask more, Eleanor turned and walked back into the darkness, the glow of her lantern fading until it was gone. Clara stood there, clutching the book, Lily's cold hand in hers. The hum Lily had mentioned was gone, but the air still felt wrong, like the world was holding its breath. Let's go inside, Clara said, her voice steadier than she felt. We'll figure this out. Lily nodded, but her eyes were distant, her fingers brushing the sketchbook she still held. They walked back to the house, the stars above no longer a comfort but a reminder of the vast, unknown thing that had touched their lives. Inside, Clara set the book on the kitchen table, its leather cover catching the dim light of the overhead lamp. Lily sat across from her, her sketchbook open to a drawing of a spiraling path that seemed to twist into itself, endless and unsettling. Clara opened Eleanor's book, her hands trembling as she scanned the pages. The writing was erratic, a mix of notes, warnings, and sketches of places that didn't look like Earth, skies with too many moons, forests of glass, doors floating in nothingness. The bus travels the seams, Clara read aloud, her voice unsteady. The places where reality frays. It offers a bargain, passage for a price. The price is always a piece of you, but it's never clear what until it's gone. Lily's fingers stilled on her sketchbook. That's what happened to me, she said. I don't know what it took, but I feel less. Clara reached across the table, covering Lily's hand with her own. We'll find it. Whatever it is, we'll get it back. Lily's eyes met hers, and for a moment, Clara saw a flicker of hope. But it was fleeting, replaced by that hollow, distant look. What if it's something I can't get back? She whispered. What if it's my soul or something? Clara's throat tightened, but she forced a smile. Then we'll find a way to make you whole without it. You're still you, Lily. You're still my daughter. Lily didn't respond, but she didn't pull her hand away. Clara turned back to the book, flipping through pages of cryptic warnings. Don't look too long in the mirrors. The doors lead to truths you might not want. The driver knows more than he says. One passage caught her eye, underlined in red ink. To break the tether, you must claim what was taken. But the bus will fight you. It always does. Clara's stomach churned. She closed the book, unable to read more. We have 29 days, she said. We'll prepare. We'll figure out what we need to do. Lily nodded, but her gaze drifted to the window where the night pressed against the glass. It's still out there, she said. I can feel it. Clara followed her gaze, half expecting to see the bus's headlights cutting through the dark. But there was nothing, just the quiet street, the empty night. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that Lily was right. The bus wasn't gone. It was waiting. Over the next few days, Clara threw herself into preparing for their return to the bus. She read Eleanor's book cover to cover, memorizing every detail, every warning. She made notes, sketched maps of the strange places described, though she wasn't sure how they'd help. Lily, meanwhile, seemed to retreat further into herself. She spent hours staring at her sketchbook, but she didn't draw. When Clara asked what she was thinking, she'd only say, I'm trying to remember. Clara didn't know what that meant, but it terrified her. She started sleeping in Lily's room, afraid to let her out of her sight. At night, she'd wake to find Lily sitting up, staring at the ceiling, her lips moving as if whispering to someone Clara couldn't see. It's calling me, Lily said once, her voice so soft Clara almost missed it. On the 5th day, Clara found something tucked into the back of Eleanor's book, a folded piece of paper yellowed with age. It was a list written in the same cramped handwriting, names of the taken. There were dozens, some crossed out, others circled, with dates stretching back decades. Beside each name was a single word: memory, hope, fear, love. Clara's heart stopped when she saw Lily's name, added in fresher ink, with the word dreams beside it. She showed it to Lily, her hands shaking. Is this what it took from you? Your dreams? Lily's eyes widened and she touched the word as if it burned. Maybe, she said. I used to dream all the time, about places, stories, things I wanted to create. Now, it's like that part of me is gone. Clara's chest ached. Then that's what we're going to get back. Your dreams. You. Lily's smile was faint, but it was there. You really think we can? I know we can, Clara said, though doubt gnawed at her. She didn't know what they'd face on the bus, what it would demand of them. But she'd made a promise and she'd keep it, no matter the cost. That night, Clara dreamed of the bus. She was standing in a vast empty place, the air thick with fog, the hum of the engine vibrating through her bones. The driver stood before her, his obsidian eyes gleaming. You're not ready, he said, his voice echoing in her skull. But you'll come anyway. She woke with a start, her heart racing. Lily was asleep beside her, her breathing shallow, her face peaceful for the first time in days. Clara reached for the book, her fingers brushing the list of names. She didn't know what the bus wanted or what it would take to free Lily. But she knew one thing, she'd fight for her daughter until her last breath. The days ticked by, each one heavier than the last. Clara kept the book close, studying it like a lifeline. She tried to talk to Lily about it, to plan, but Lily's answers were vague, her eyes always drifting to the distance, as if listening to something Clara couldn't hear. On the 10th day, Clara found a new drawing in Lily's sketchbook. A door, just like the one in the clearing, but this time it was cracked open, a faint light spilling through. Below it, in Lily's handwriting, were the words, "It's waiting." Clara's heart sank. She didn't know if the drawing was a warning or a promise, but it felt like a countdown. The bus was coming and they had to be ready. She sat Lily down, forcing her to focus. We need a plan, she said. When we get on that bus, we need to know what we're looking for. Your dreams, how do we find them? Lily's eyes were distant, but she nodded. I think they're behind a door. Like in my drawings. But it's not just one door. There are so many and they all lead somewhere different. Clara flipped through Eleanor's book, searching for anything about doors. She found a passage, half faded, that made her blood run cold. The doors are the bus's heart. Each one holds a piece of someone. Choose wrong and you lose more than you came for. She read it aloud, her voice shaking. Lily's face paled, but she didn't look away. Then we choose carefully, she said. We find the right door. Clara nodded, though fear churned in her gut. Together, she said. We do this together. Lily's hand found hers, and for the first time in days, her grip was strong. Together, she echoed. The days blurred into a tense rhythm of preparation and waiting. Clara memorized every detail of the book, every hint about the bus's rules. She packed a small bag, flashlight, water, a knife she hoped she wouldn't need. Lily started drawing again, her sketches more frantic, filled with doors and twisting paths. Each one felt like a map, but to where Clara didn't know. On the 28th night, Clara couldn't sleep. She sat at the kitchen table, the book open in front of her, Lily's sketchbook beside it. The house was quiet, but the air felt alive, humming with anticipation. She knew the bus was coming. Tomorrow night at 12:01 a.m., it would be at the corner of Maple and 3rd. And they'd be ready, she hoped. The fog rolled in just before midnight, thick and suffocating, as if the town itself was holding its breath. Clara stood at the bus stop, Lily beside her, both clutching their bags. Lily's face was pale, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Clara held her hand, her heart pounding as the familiar hum of the bus grew closer. The headlights pierced the fog and the black-painted beast emerged, its tinted windows swallowing the light. The door hissed open and the driver's obsidian eyes met Clara's. Back again, he said, his voice a dry rasp. You sure? Clara's jaw tightened. We're sure. He shrugged, gesturing to the seats. Your choice. Clara led Lily onto the bus, her heart in her throat. The interior was the same, dark, cold, the air heavy with that metallic tang. But this time there were others. A man in a tattered coat, muttering to himself. A woman with a scarf covering half her face, her eyes darting nervously. Clara guided Lily to a seat near the front, her hand never leaving her daughter's. The bus lurched forward, the world outside dissolving into gray. Clara opened Eleanor's book, her eyes scanning the pages for anything she'd missed. Lily clutched her sketchbook, her fingers tracing the drawing of the door. It's close, she whispered. I can feel it. Clara nodded, though her stomach twisted. She didn't know what they'd find or what the bus would demand. But she knew one thing, she wouldn't let it take Lily again. She leaned closer, her voice low. Whatever happens, we stay together. Okay. Lily's eyes met hers, and for a moment, they were just mother and daughter, not passengers on a cursed bus. Okay, she said. The bus rumbled on, carrying them deeper into the in-between, toward a door that held Lily's dreams, or something far worse.